Hey everyone, welcome to Craving Something Scary, where it's all horror all the time. Now in this video, I'm going to discuss Matthew Lillard's recent comments revealing what really motivated him to play William Afton in Five Nights at Freddy's. Plus, Matthew also shares how he feels about Jason Blum and Blumhouse Productions overall. He also shared some personal insight into a conversation he had with Jason Blum, where Lillard expressed what he desires for the rest of his career and whether or not he foresees the horror genre as being something he wants to continue doing. So, get ready to hear from Matthew Lillard himself as he peels back the curtain to share his personal thoughts with all of us. Let's go!
It's David Arquette, Dewey from the Scream movies, as you know. Remember, there's only one rule to surviving a horror movie, and that's subscribing to Craving Something Scary.
So I want to give a quick shout out to Screen Rant Plus, who posted a clip of Matthew Lillard on their TikTok account, from which I'm sharing some of that audio on this video as well. So the reason I decided to make this video and share Matthew's thoughts is because I find them very interesting, number one, and frankly, pretty exciting as well. So I'm going to play some of the audio now, and you can hear directly from Matthew himself on what he desires for the future of his career. Now, after the clip, I'll be back to share my thoughts about what he said, and we will go from there. But first, here comes Matthew Lillard.
A buddy of mine said, I'm having Jason Blum over for a dinner party. You want to come by? And I said, yes. And I went up to him and I said, I'm not going to lie to you. One of the reasons I took this movie is to be in your wheelhouse. I love horror movies. I think horror movies, for me, speak to the actor I am. I mean, there's really high stakes. People are running for their lives. I think that's a world in which I operate well in. And I know from my fans at conventions that they like me in horror movies. So I've been looking for an opportunity to get back into the horror genre. And I couldn't be happier being in business with Blum and Blumhouse. I said to him last week, I would spend the rest of my career working in his space because I think he's a good dude. I think the stuff he makes is the world I want to live in and I can do well at. And I'm hoping to be around for a long time.
All right, so there you have it, guys, right from Matthew Lillard's own mouth. And I think it was really cool that he was transparent and shared this information with us, which he totally did not have to do. Especially being, at a private dinner party. And I love how he was very open with Jason. And he told him straight up that one of the reasons he took Five Nights at Freddy's was to be in the Blumhouse wheelhouse. And I thought that was awesome. He said, I love horror movies. Matthew said, I think horror movies, for me, speak to the actor that I am. And this is, honestly, this is great to hear because it was just recently that there were, rumors going around in the media, what have you. Some folks were saying that, Matthew Lillard is kind of, iffy on whether or not he wants to do, Scream or horror. And I'm like, this just solidifies that Matthew Lillard is 100% on board in the horror genre, to the fact that he is literally telling Jason Blum directly that he loves them. He loves horror movies, and they speak to the actor that he is. And he said, I think that's a world in which I operate well in. And right? I mean, my goodness, he's fantastic, whether it's, his role in 13 Ghosts, or if, of course, look at Scream. Anytime you see him in thrillers, those type roles, he's very versatile anyway. He can do comedies and he can do dramas. We've seen all that. But yeah, put him in a horror movie and it just feels good. Like Five Nights at Freddy's. It was great seeing him back in that type of a role. And absolutely, he operates well in it. So, and he goes on to say, I've been looking for an opportunity to get back into the horror genre. And he couldn't be happier being in business with Blum and Blumhouse. And so this is good, guys. I think this is exciting. It gets me pumped up that he literally tells Jason Blum that I would spend the rest of my career working in your space. He would literally do that. And he said, I think the stuff that, Jason Blum makes is the world I want to live in and I can do well at. And so this, to me, guys, just solidified that absolutely Matthew Lillard is in no way tired of the horror genre, being in horror movies, not at all. And I think it's amazing that we got this insight, because this is not the type of insight you normally would get. Again, this is a private dinner party. This isn't like a public setting where they're talking. And this is the information that only gets out if someone happens at that party to leak it, or the individuals themselves come out and say it, which is what he did here. And I think that that's absolutely awesome. So it gives me great excitement and anticipation. Number one, to see what Jason Blum's response is going to be. Because we know Five Nights at Freddy's, the sequel is already greenlit. Matthew Lillard will be back for that. But I'm also very excited to see, what does Jason do with this? Does he take, this information from Matthew and say, okay, I'm going to find roles for you. We're going to find movies that make sense to have you in a horror film, and continue to build his horror repertoire. And wouldn't it be amazing for him to have this massive comeback in the horror genre now, at this stage of his career? It would be absolutely amazing. And, and it leads me to a question that many of you may have, because I know you may be asking me, well, why do I have Scream 7 in the title of this video and thumbnail? And the reason I do is because I think it is of great significance to Scream 7, and even, beyond Scream 7 perhaps. Matthew is expressing such a passion for horror and his desire to stay in the horror realm of filmmaking. This means, guys, that Scream 7 is also right there in his wheelhouse as well. Now, of course, it's up to James and Guy, the writers of Scream 7, to do the right thing and bring Stu Macher back for one final epic showdown I hope to see with Sidney Prescott. And there needs to be a huge final send-off for Sidney, not the Scream 5 ending. We need a real proper send-off for Sidney. And I can't think of a better one than her having one more showdown with Stu Macher himself, and once and for all defeating him in a very definitive, clear way. And also keep this in mind too. Now, I know a lot of people, since all this stuff went down with Melissa and Jenna, and now Christopher Landon quitting the project as well, a lot of people have been clamoring basically for Spyglass to sell the rights to Scream to a new studio, let someone else take it over, that, basically you've done damage beyond repair. There's no fixing it. It needs to go to someone new. Now, I'm all for that on principle, but I will say this. They just bought the rights to Scream, the films, and the TV series. They paid for all of that just 3 years ago. And 3 or 4 years ago now. It's all it's been. It's very early. So, and don't forget, Scream, as of right now, is the highest box office grossing IP brand that they own, that Spyglass owns. So there's just a lot of reasons why I don't see them selling the IP to Scream. I just don't see it happening. Now, you never say never, obviously. But it's in the spirit of that, I'm going to mention this, because should Spyglass really consider selling the rights to the Scream franchise, Blumhouse Studios, guys, Jason Blum, would be an excellent landing spot, in my opinion. I would love to see a Scream film with Blumhouse. I would have no problem with that whatsoever. Again, I think that's a long shot, but it's still worth mentioning and thinking about, all right, discussing it. But guys, listen, I'm going to leave it there for you for this update. But I do want to know, what do you think about Matthew Lillard's comments that he shared and his transparency about his conversation with Jason Blum? I want to know what your thoughts and ideas are. So start leaving me your comments below right now in the comments section so we can discuss it together. I'll be looking forward to seeing what you are thinking, all right? Well, guys, that's going to be it for this update. But I will be back soon with more Scream and other horror movie content in general, kind of like today's. So don't forget to like and subscribe. And until next time, this is Craving Something Scary, where it's all horror all the time. Thank you for watching.